All right, so what we're looking at today is this deluxe wood burning kit, and this is by ArtSkills. Picked this up on Amazon. I will definitely put a link in the description below. But the reason we got this is because we want to be able to cut that wax off the plate here and leave the rest of it intact in that dripping form. This will actually heat up, and it comes with a cutting blade. Here they call them a hot knife tip. So what it does is it heats up this tip, and I'm hoping to just be able to slice through that hardened wax using the heat and the sharpness of the blade to make a smooth cut around the edge. That way we can keep reusing this plate without it actually overflowing, because as you see here, it is actually starting to pool up high enough that it's on that last ridge of the plate. And if we keep going and this gets higher and higher, it will eventually overflow. So yeah, we're gonna give this a shot. We're gonna open it up, see what it looks like on the inside, and we'll go from there. I'm out in the garage because I know this thing's gonna smoke. One being a first time use, and two, because any leftover wax will probably burn off and smoke quite a bit. So we're gonna try it outside here. Hopefully what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow me to cut away the base here where all this is pulled up, and I can reuse this wax to melt down and create my own candles. Previously, I've been chipping away at it with, a pick and a knife, and you can see there's multi-layers of built up wax, but I don't want to disturb the wax that's melted on the bottle. That's actually going to be what creates the multicolored art, basically. Long ago, they used to have these candles that you could shave down, and there'd be different colors of wax and stuff inside, and they'd make like these big flower candles and stuff. And this is kind of the same thing, except it's kind of that drip pattern. So I've got this thing heating up at the moment, and we're going to give it a shot and see how it works out. I don't think it's hot enough at the moment. I don't know if you can see this side, but we're gonna try and use the blade, which is sharp, plus the heat to see if we can easily remove this. So we'll give it a few seconds and let it heat up. All right, now this is kind of a dangerous situation. You got one, a sharp object, and two, a lot of heat. So be careful with where you're pointing it, where you set it down. And I can smell the wax on there that I've put on melting. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot here and see how it works. And really, I don't want to cut the wax, I want to melt it. So I'm going to go kind of slow. Seems like it's working pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Getting through it. You can see all that smoke coming off here. I think that's mostly because of the internal elements heating up. Hopefully it doesn't burn out on me. Let me see if we can get a little closer to the jar here. Really, like I said, I want the heat to do the work and not so much the blade. Because the blade is super thin, it can break. And at the same time, I am using a plastic plate. Not a cheap plastic plate, but plastic nonetheless. And you want to work in kind of small sections because you don't want that wax cooling off. And I may have done exactly what I said not to do. So I'm going to try a smaller piece. Oh yeah, there we go. Break this off and remove it. Break that off. Remove it. And just kind of do that. It's a lot quicker than using a knife. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this done, and I'll get back to you. So we have a plate of wax and a jar that has been cleaned up a little bit. So plenty of drippings. I wanted to leave a decent little base down there that these drippings connected to keep them from popping off. So I'm setting this aside, and we're gonna go ahead and take this wax and recycle it. But ultimately, the thing worked out pretty good. What I found was that we definitely need to use the blade and more at a 90-degree angle versus at a slant, because what's happening is the tip, the gold that you see there, is actually melting the wax as it moves at an angle. So you want to make sure that you're using the blade to just keep the tool, that's why it's smoking, to keep the tool cleaner, and at the same time gives you a cleaner cut on the wax. But ultimately, like I said, this is an ArtSkills wood burning kit that I got on Amazon. It works really good so far. This, like I said, is my first time using it. So if you're interested in that, it's really inexpensive. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And it came with a whole bunch of tips. So if I didn't want to use the blade, I could always use just the heated tips to melt the wax off. And that may actually be a little safer than using this thin blade, especially on this plastic that I've got here. So I may try that next time, but I'm gonna go ahead and let that cool down. I'm going to store the wax, and then I'm gonna put the jar back on the plate, and we'll get started with more drippings. Stay tuned.